Good morning and welcome to day 38 of the Geriatric 1944 Coronavirus Diaries. And I do want to touch on the coronavirus situation today, although I know a lot of you get really annoyed by that and prefer me just to talk about music and anecdotes and tales of my past. But it's interesting today. For a start, you look at South Korea, which today claims to have no new infections at all and no deaths at all. They've managed to beat the coronavirus. Now, a lot of it depends on how people deal with this thing, and different countries have dealt with it in different ways. But my feeling is you have to go to the basic premise. Is this a really serious lethal virus that we must beat at all costs? If so, then, and I think it's a media inflated idea, I don't think it's nearly as serious for the vast majority of people as the media claims. I'd go so far as to say for 95% of people, it is a mild or very ordinary or unpleasant disease like flu is. And 5% it's serious, of which a small percentage is lethal. So that's one route. If you actually don't believe what I believe there, and you think this really is a plague, a biblical plague, a global biblical plague, that will kill, I think somebody said 50 million people, then I think the only way to deal with it is the complete lockdown and such things as tracing and testing. I don't feel the other extreme, which is the herd immunity. There's a very good article in The Guardian today that herd immunity was the original solution decided on by the British government and then abandoned. I think that is equally absurd because herd immunity without any serious clamping down on things is a mistake. So I don't go to one extreme or the other. Where I go is right in the middle. I think since this is a serious virus only for 5%, we should, or countries should, concentrate on that 5%, protecting and treating the vulnerable, which is mainly the elderly, those with underlying health conditions, various other people, I suspect bad smokers and so on. But the moment a sign of coronavirus hits and they feel they're going to be very ill, they should be rushed to hospital, in which wards are set aside that are only for coronavirus patients, and they are then incredibly well treated with the ventilators and everything else, and the concentration, for example, of PPE is entirely on those wards. When they leave them, they have to get rid of the PPE and have showers, or like they do when they put astronauts or radiation people, and really concentrate on that 5% of the vulnerable, which, of course, in the early days was very obviously care homes and hospices. And it just is beyond me why all the countries didn't concentrate on those areas instead of going the route they've gone, which is complete lockdown, ruins the economy, does incredibly damaging results to people who got cancer or heart attacks, strokes or sepsis or whatever. And actually, I think will end up killing many, many more people than coronavirus, because that huge section of the population that's affected by lockdown is much more than the 95% affected by coronavirus with very mild symptoms. Anyway, that's my feeling, and I think it's quite interesting that South Korea has now declared that it's completely safe. I also look at other countries like Germany and Sweden and so on, where the slightly more my kind of thing, a lockdown but not quite a total lockdown, has been applied and the results they've had. And you look at the USA, again, the media is terrible in these things. The media is now howling 1 million infected in the USA. They don't comment that 329 million are not infected in the USA. It's a country of 330 million people. But the media, who only loves a great story, pushes the other angle, which makes everyone panic, makes us all feel we're about to die tomorrow, and has the most appalling consequences when governments believe that and go down that road. It's another reason why I don't think the tracing thing is a good idea. The World Health Organization says it's crucial now, the testing and tracing. Well, testing, yes, I agree. But my particular theory is far more people have already got coronavirus and survived it, or have got it at the moment, than any testing has realised, because most testing, especially in this stupid country, is only of people who've been rushed to hospital and have got serious symptoms and all the rest of it. People like myself, and like you, dare I suggest it, who may well have had coronavirus and just thought it was a slight cold or a sore throat or a medium cough and got over it, have never been tested. So the result is the amount of people who've got coronavirus is, I think, far, far more than we're told. And the amount of deaths attributed to coronavirus is far, far smaller, because nearly everyone I see who's died of coronavirus was very close to death with other conditions anyway. And I think the actual people who died because of coronavirus, perhaps it infected them when they had another condition and caused that condition to flare up or whatever. But even so, the actual deaths attributed to coronavirus are far smaller. I wish they'd stop saying people died of coronavirus and say people have died with coronavirus. That is the truth. Why won't the media tell us the truth? I know exactly why, because it's a great story. The other thing we have to celebrate is Captain Tom, or Major Tom as I like to call him, or Colonel Tom as I gather he now is 100 today. Well done, Captain Tom. I have a lady who is about to be 100 today as well, Joan. Joan, to me, is a much greater hero than Captain Tom was. Joan offered to come and give evidence on my recent trial against my main original false accuser. Totally 100% proving evidence in court that the man was a liar and a fake and totally dishonest. Luckily, she didn't have to come. She was 98 at the time, although she was prepared to come. And she didn't have to, because I was found not guilty, officially declared by the jury not guilty of the man's ravings. And indeed, that's part of the helpful new evidence we've got that's trying to get my 2001 wrongful conviction overturned. But Joan, of course, will be, I think, 100 next month or the month after. Can't celebrate because, no parties are allowed these days. But I'd like to dedicate this song to her. She's a fabulous lady, a fantastic, honest, honourable, decent lady, 100 years old this year. And for her, I'd like to play an obscure track called Penny that I recorded ages and ages ago and did in fact put into my Me, Me, Me film. So if you do watch the film Me, 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 the movie, you will see this number performed by the crooked agent or record producer Ben Volio. But actually it's me singing and the old track, and I wrote it, and I think it's great fun. So ladies and gentlemen, for you today, Penny.
With me, I'll give you a shilling for your smile. I'll give you a pound if you'll talk with me. I'll give you 100 for a mile. I'll give you the secret of youth, girl. I'll bring you the sun from the sky. I'll give you the moon from the night time. I'll buy you an elephant's eye. But all I want is to hold you, honey, touch you, here you'll be mine. I don't care if the sky's in the air. We got love, we got lust, we got fire. I'll give you the key to the garden. I'll give you diamonds and pearls. I'll find you the rubies in the eyes of the gods, girl, the fruits and the treasures of four worlds, emeralds, deep gold and silver, pearl. I'll give you silks from Bangkok, girl. Rich minks, pure white, ermine and fur. But all I want is to hold you, honey. Touch you, here you'll be mine. I don't care if the sky's in the air. We got love, we got lust, we got time. I'll give you the world, I'll give you the stars, I'll give you the sky, I'll give you